Hi, my name is Dana Hebriard, and I'm here to talk a little bit about shaping culture and the role that we play in it. A little bit about myself. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I was raised in other big cities. I went to Indiana University, so go Hoosiers, and have a doctorate in educational leadership from Western Michigan University. I have worked in higher ed for a very long time. After doing two stints in broadcast journalism, I really found my passion and purpose in higher education, in career services, in organizational theory and design, in academic advising. I work with corporations and also other higher educational institutions to talk a little bit about those sort of organizational trends. And things that I tend to do is utilize some assessments like whether it's the DISC or the strengths or Myers-Briggs or strong interest inventory or Joffe or things that we use as tools to get conversations going into how we all work together. So we're going to spend a bit of time today talking a little bit about that and introducing ourselves to the topic. My friend Shayna Lane wrote a book titled Leadership is Easy, Says No One Ever. And if you have a chance, I would encourage you to pick it up because this book, I mean, from the very title, I was like, yes, you're right. Yes, same, same. You think it's easy, you think you know what you're doing, but there's so much subjectivity to leading a team and to positively leading a team. Here's what she wrote: 11 habits to learn early so you can lead expertly. Take a few minutes to look at all of these. We're going to kind of go through a little bit, especially developing that coach-like approach and setting clear expectations. The most memorable leaders, the ones we truly admire, aren't the ones who make it about themselves, right? Here's the truth. Leadership isn't about that corner office or the fancy email signature, although I will admit I do love a good Outlook auto reply, right? Thank you for your email. I am currently out of the office trying to bring order to chaos. But they're the ones, those really exceptional leaders, the ones that you refer to when you think about leadership, are the ones who show up consistently to create high performing environments that bring out the best in their team. They're the ones that roll up their sleeves and pitch in where is needed, and they always do it with that area of curiosity, of grace, of encouragement. Think back to why you got into higher education. And if you're like me, it was because someone, an advisor, a faculty mentor, a coach, believed in you at just the right time. They didn't just hand out a syllabi or scheduling tips or say, here's your graduation audit. They helped shape your sense of belonging, identity, and possibilities. And our hope, or my hope, is that how we can work together is to help you understand how you can personally make Rowan College at Burlington County's mission real on a daily basis. When I had a chance to kind of do a little investigation and read your mission, that mission to transform lives by delivering innovative, high quality, affordable, educational experiences in an accessible and diverse environment, that just spoke to me. I mean, it means that culture should reflect openness, inclusivity, a drive for innovation, and your voice in the work that you do is a culture shaper, and your position can be a lever for influence. I love the work that I get to do every day at the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Center for Experiential Learning. And whether we're launching internship programs through the Laker Accelerated Talent Link program or developing community-based work study opportunities, it's all about creating an ecosystem where students and partners can thrive. And that takes more than good intentions. It takes intentional leadership, it takes collaboration, and well, it takes communicating and meeting. Sometimes you feel like so many meetings. Shayna also provided in her book this prioritization and delegation map. And it might be a good tool to just have on hand when you're thinking about your goals and objectives for the year. And she kind of breaks things through what's important and not important, and then what might be urgent and then not urgent. And then from there, she's like, well, what is it that you need to do? Something that might have a task with clear deadlines, significant consequences if not completed in a timely manner. But what are some things that you can delegate? What are some things that you can empower members of your team to own and to, really take control of and make their own? And what are some things that can be scheduled? Tasks that have no set deadline that might bring you closer to your long-term goals, but aren't mission critical at that particular moment. And then what are some things that you don't need to do, or things that might distract you from growing as a leader, or don't add any measurable value? When I talk about that coach-like approach, I think about how are the questions that we ask and how are the words that we use affecting our team. I am someone who's a doer. I just like to get things done. And I often do try to problem solve, whether it's in my family with my children, whether it's at my office with team members. I have to even think it to myself, okay, let's see how they might do it. So asking those coaching questions like, well, what are your options here? What else would you like to try? Or what do you need to move forward? Might give individuals the chance to sort of grow themselves. Shayna provided those 11 habits to learn early in your career so that you can lead expertly. Habits such as self awareness, um, being self aware means being humble enough to dig deeper and understand your strengths, your weaknesses, capabilities, and growth opportunities, and how you and your behavior might impact the people around you. And we'll also explore communication and organizational theories that help us build a sustainable culture, whether it's across a division, an institution, or let's be honest, just your Tuesday team meeting that keeps going off the rail because someone brought in muffins or someone got on the topic, a popular culture topic, and suddenly it's story time, right? Um, Jesse Bernal, who's the new president of West Connecticut State University, commented once that culture isn't built in a meeting room. Culture isn't what we say, it's what we repeat with care. And culture change doesn't start with a plan, it starts with a heartbeat. Take a moment to think about the current culture of your division. What contributes to it? And when you think about it, it's in the small starts. It's in the small things. It's that pickup meeting that you didn't intend on having, the meeting after the meeting. It's that hallway chat, email tone. It's smiling at somebody as you're walking across the quad, or inviting a student or a peer to share their voice, or asking a colleague how they're doing and really listening. And it's also framing, redirecting, and affirming language. Influencing how ideas are received by framing as a solution to the challenge, a positive frame, rather than an untested proposal, a negative frame. When have your words or actions shifted the tone of a meeting? To think back to maybe any examples. Research confirms that one of the most critical drivers of organizational success is the relationship between leaders and their teams. I have a friend who said, I could really do anything. I'd like to do a whole bunch of things, but I really focus on the team that I'm working with. And that to me is the most important thing. At the heart of that is trust, and along with a shared understanding of a mission, vision, and value that guides us. And how do we balance that? How do we balance loyalty and alignment? Richard Daff puts it well when he said organizational culture is a set of shared values, norms, and beliefs that become the social glue, the thing that shapes us on how we think, feel, and behave together. And that's going to help us create that student-centered culture, how students perceive the institution through tone, signage, and support. And it starts with even an audit, right? Jennifer Bloom talked a lot about that when she started talking about appreciative inquiry, auditing your space, identifying visual or behavioral clues that affect a student's experience. Martin Seligman developed a cognitive behavioral tool to help individuals recognize and challenge negative behaviors that arise in response to adversity, called the ABCDE model. When you think about it, each of the concepts connects to a descriptor. So you start with identifying the situation or event that might trigger a reaction, recognizing the thoughts or behaviors that you had in response to that, identifying the emotional behavioral consequences of those behaviors, challenge the belief with evidence and alternative viewpoints, and then notice how positive effects like emotional and behavioral might change your thinking. And I'm also, as I mentioned, a strengths quest facilitator. And so I'm a big Stephen Covey fan, and strengths lie in differences, not in similarities. Think about how can you become a strength-based leader, even if you aren't someone who knows by heart your five signature um, themes or talents or your strengths. Leadership development is a journey, and it starts with understanding who you are before focusing on what you can do. Observe and listen closely to your team to discover how or what their own unique talents and insights are. Talents are naturally occurring behaviors of thoughts, feelings, and behavior, and they reflect often how people act and what energizes them at work. Is someone always out and about talking to people? Someone have a door closed? Does someone need like very clear instructions or all of the information, or does someone just need that challenge? Think about that and start really paying attention. Brene Brown said, when we pay attention to both the spoken and unspoken messages we send, we lead more inclusively and intentionally, and that's how we build trust. So, if you've ever wondered how your team or why your team reacts the way that it does to change, or why a certain email chain suddenly turns into group therapy sessions, well, culture's got something to do with it. Take a moment to reflect on these questions. How do I model the culture I want to sustain? Where is my leadership voice most influential? Where is it the least influential? Where have I navigated disagreement with grace? Or maybe didn't as well? How optimistic is the tone of our meetings? And where can I shift? And what's one small action you'll take this week to strengthen your team's culture? So, hopefully that gives you just a little insight into what we're going to be doing, and I'm looking forward to engaging with you. Connect with me if you have any questions, and I'll see you at the next video.